Good evening, gentlemen. Imagine a game that doesn't just want you to lose, it wants you to question every decision you have ever made in life. That game is called Stalker Anomaly. It's a lovingly handcrafted masterpiece of psychological warfare specifically engineered to make you regret pressing new game in the first place. Every step you take is a carefully choreographed accident. Every conversation is a TED talk on why hope is overrated. Every shootout is literally a boss fight, and your save files are not progress markers, they are archaeological evidence of your mental collapse. Honestly, nothing special, that's basically my life. I eat this kind of pain for breakfast. Or so I thought. We'll be playing the custom version stacked with gameplay, weapon and graphics modes. Launching the game, we're immediately greeted by some eye-pleasing half HD resolution and these really hieroglyphs, which for some reason I can actually read. After switching to a more civilized resolution and changing the language to a more primitive one, we move on to character creation. Let's start with faction. As you can see, there is plenty to choose from, but let's be honest, there is only one real option. We are going with duty. Roided up jarheads in leather suits, defending the planet from the horrors of the zone, meaning bandits, mutants, cultists, and of course, the greatest enemy of all who fight for the greater good, freedom. Difficulty maxed out, agony mode off. There'll be plenty of agony in this game already, trust me. We need a proper name, something a true stalker would go by. It has to rhyme, half name, half nickname. How about Charlie Dickens? We grab the most beat up ratty jacket available. What else would we wear to conquer the zone? Grandpa's gas mask, rusty old Ford 17, good enough for now. Our name alone should inspire fear and concern about a second gun in our pants. Medkit check, bandages check. Let's ride, baby! We spawn at the military outpost in Agroprom. Right away we get a message from the general of our order calling all worthy volunteers for an important mission. Of course we answer the call and our path now leads to Rostock. But showing up to the general without any trophies to prove our worth would be ridiculous. So we grab a job from the local butcher to clear out some mutants. Exactly the kind of work fit for a duty warrior. But the moment I came face to face with Zone's filth, I realized I had seriously underestimated the task.
Damn bro, made of concrete or what? Who let the dogs out? Woo, 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 woo.
Sprinting like hell with a pack of blind dogs at my heels, I dashed toward the flea market, praying that the local stalkers would have my back. But a striped pseudodog followed me in and started absolutely fucking everyone inside.
Whoa.
Yep, I'm not the best one, defender of humanity. Any sane person would have just walked away and come back with better gear. But that's not the path of a zone legend. After a few more desperate attempts to bait the pack toward the stalkers, it became clear they are smarter than me, and that kind of bait wasn't gonna work. Out of ammo, out of honor, and having made peace with defeat, I head to the general anyway. Turns out some guy named Strilok is back in the zone, and the general wants him found. Big mission, requires top skills and proper preparation. Sir, I just emptied 4 max into the dirt, didn't kill a single dog, and showed up wearing torn pants. Clearly, you won't find a better candidate than me. The general fully agreed and handed me the mission. We need to get our ass to the middle of nowhere, some pit in the swamps, and find a guy called the Doctor, an old associate of Strilok.
Bruh, look at this dude.
There is just one problem. I'm broke as hell and HQ gave me slightly less than nothing to complete the mission, so I have to gear up on my own. Time to make some cash. Let's start with the arena. After the easiest fight of my life, I finally learned how much a human life is worth in the zone. 1,000 rubles. Or in human money, 1,032 rupees. Encouraged by the easy cash, I rushed into the second fight and quickly realized how badly I'd been fooled. This wasn't an arena. this was a sex dungeon. I was fucked in every way imaginable. The AI on this 20-year-old engine still gave a beating even to a seasoned zone dweller like me. He flanked, he waited, he kept his distance like a damn pro. Second time around, I held out just long enough for my ammo to run dry. So I launched at the poor bastard with the fury of a samurai.
28 samples.
So, are we splitting the money? What? Apparently not. So I unloaded half Mac into him and fairly claimed my 2,000 rubles. That makes a total of 3,000 earned. And straight to the doctor who stitches me up for 2.5. Yeah, not exactly a sustainable income. Time to try my luck with some side gigs. On my way to the garbage, I saw a message from some nerdy scientist. He was looking for a guide to the swamps and was willing to pay. Since that was exactly where I was headed, and a well-armed companion, even if he is a scientist, wouldn't hurt, I rushed over to find him. Imagine my surprise when he brought along 3 more guys. Jackpot. First thing we did was punish the ones who punished me earlier. Then we reduced the number of bandits in the area and lost one of our own. His sacrifice will not be forgotten. Just like his gear. On the cordon, another pack of dogs ambushed us and claimed another one of my guys. I promised to get them safe there. How am I supposed to look people in the eye after this? Oh, what's that? Down in the swamps we got caught in another shootout, but thank God, no casualties this time. Having delivered just 50% of the original group, I still have the guts to take full payment, and even ask them to recommend me to their friends. Now let's go find the doctor. The path to him should be somewhere around here, and this spot is usually crawling with renegades lying in ambush waiting for unsuspecting stalkers to pass by. But seeing 3 corpse markers on the map, I pushed forward like nothing was wrong. Someone else had taken care of them, I was sure about that. Until I wasn't. Approaching the problem from a different angle, I resorted to some tactical trickery, attacking them while hiding inside a train car. But then I checked my backpack and discovered a miracle, a Mosin rifle worn down to near transparency, but with a suppressor. That is all we need. Dropping those fools right in their own bushes, we somehow stumble upon a hole in the fence and find the doctor. The old geezer, of course, had no idea where Strelok was, but he did tell us about his secret hideout. So secret, in fact, that half the zones have been going there since 2007. Let's see if we can find some answers there. But first, we need to get ourselves back in shape, sell some loot and wrap up a few tasks if possible. Right now, money is worth its weight in gold. Please help me. I picked up a couple of jobs, deliver a package and locate a missing duty guy at the truck cemetery. Sir, your package. Oh, thanks. Do I need to sign anywhere? No, don't worry, just take it. As I was getting close to where the guy was last seen, I suddenly understood why he wasn't answering the radio. Another dog pack, hell-bent on smashing faces, was prowling the area. My aim at these dogs was dog shit. I was just hoping they'd die from cringe and who the fuck are you? After locating the guy, or what was left of him, I took what little he had left. It's been a rough day. Time to get some sleep. I feel you, bro. I sleep the same way. New day, new problems. Today's plan is simple. Wrap up loose ends, gear up properly, and get back on the trail of Strelok. Wolf offered me a job. 2 tourists with too much money decided to go on a safari in the zone, and I was tasked with keeping them safe. Easy money. I could have just walked around the car park and avoided the shootout with the bandits. But that's not the way of a zone legend.
Неплохо. За одну ходку 2 ночные звезды. Если так и дальше пойдет, в гробу я видел ваш хваленый клондайк.
Poor guy had no idea what was waiting for him. The shootout started off epically. The first guy wasn't feeling so good right away, and I was almost next in the line. Barely surviving on the last drops of blood, we move on with the one tourist left to cleanse the zone's filth.
Hell of a gun you got there, son.
Cool. But Monseigneur Emission had his own plans for us. Sprinting to the nearest shelter, I didn't even notice my companion had vanished. Don't tell me you stayed out there, you idiot. Oh, there you are. Returning to the clearing, we found no trace of the surviving creature. Either it got disintegrated by the emission, or fell through the map. I'm leaning toward the latter. Either way, buddy, you're mine now. Entering the swamps and running into yet another shootout, my boy met his end like a true warrior, with a gun in his hands. You were a good guy in the wrong place. Rest in peace.
Ooh, I'll take it. Okay, I'm done here.
The main thing to remember is we are in the zone, and death can strike at any moment. For example, right now. Here we get an urgent mission to fend off a major bandit attack on the garbage. The fog was thick as milk, couldn't see shit. So I decided to move in a bit further, but accidentally moved straight to my desktop. Rookie mistake. Happens a lot in the zone. Suddenly I was stunned by the number of bodies around, and already imagined the loot I could strip off them. Forgetting all caution with bullets whizzing past my ears, I stopped covering my comrades' backs and focused on profit.
Oh, mine.
After smashing F9, my allies decided to leave me alone to deal with this mess. Now, guess what's gonna happen in 5 seconds. Whatever you're thinking, it's wrong. Out of nowhere, a pack of dogs showed up and tore my ass apart. Next time, it was a boar. You wanted a life? Here, sign for it. Having wrapped up all the quests and buying what turned out to be the shittiest gun imaginable, dear god, why did I spend money on this shit? We head out to Agroprom. Ooh, I hope Charlie is still Dickens. Entering the painfully familiar underground, we lob a grenade straight at the bandits and wish them a speedy recovery. Reaching Strevok's super secret stash, we find a super secret folder with super secret info, bright blue and placed in the middle of the room, just to make sure absolutely no one sees it. And some case with documents we will probably trade for a handful of ammo and bottle of vodka. Turns out Strevok might be not somewhere but chilling in the bar at Rostock. We rushed there only for the barkeep to hit us with the classic, "Yeah, you just missed him. He's headed toward the brain scorcher on the radar." And this is where the game drops one of the zone's core fundamentals. You wanna go north? Turn off the goddamn scorcher, even if it's not really bothering anyone. Now we are heading to Yantar. On the way we're tasked with kicking some mercenary ass in the wild territory, but surprise surprise, we weren't the only ones with that kind of mission. And then Freedom flanked us from behind like the rats they are. Lesson learned. We mind that bush so no one sneaks up again. Just gotta remember not to step on it myself. Methodically picking off mercs one by one, we finally reach the building and start squeezing out the remaining ones like toothpaste from a tube. But I did not expect a merc to magically phase through the damn ceiling. Fucking Harry Houdini. Reaching Yantar, we ask Professor Dada about the Psy helmet, and of course he had one, for a fat stack of cash. I went for the pricier option with calibration. Last thing I need is that helmet shitting itself in the worst possible moment. Downside? Get away 2 days. But suddenly I misclicked and decided to yeet a grenade inside the bunker. So I loaded the last save and gave our relationship another shot. Same convo, same deal. Now off to find something to do for the next 2 days. And oh yeah, I did find myself a little side job. On my way to the mission at the army warehouse, I ran into a group of some seriously jacked up nerds looking for a guide to the same place. Smelling the sweet scent of easy money, I volunteered to help, and imagine my surprise when I found out they were heading straight to the Freedom Base. Who better to ask for help than a duty guy, right? Alright fellas, how about we wipe out a few anarchists,
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down, my ladies. Short, tall, thin or wide, always down, ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time.
Fuck!
Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not. Time for
Thank you for your service, my friends. Now, give me my money.
Then I figured I'd just move the game to another drive, but it completely lost its shit. And even moving it back didn't help. The mods just stopped working. So I had to nuke the whole thing along with my saves and reinstall it from scratch. This time around, I decided to take a slightly different approach. Yes, yeah.
By the way, Lannisters send their regards. Understandable. Have a nice day.
I love this game. After a few hours of grinding, by the time I ordered the Psy helmet, I was already geared up pretty well, also sitting on a stupid amount of cash. Finally picked up the helmet, and of course, first thing they do is send us straight into the lab X16, where, surprise surprise, someone somehow turned the Psy emitter back on. Just another of the core fundamentals of the zone, you know? After getting smacked around by mutant pigs and finding a hole in the building, in a building, we drop down into the lab, where the professor reminds us why we are here, to shut down the emitter. Thanks, Doc. I have already forgot. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm just here to pull some levers, no need to kill me.
I can smell you.
Oh hey, that old trick again.
Hello. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
What the fuck was that? A tank?
The zombies in this lab are Terminators, walking tanks. Good thing there's nothing our 120 years old Mosin rifle can't handle. We reach the secret switches, flip them like it's our life on the line, then brace our ass because the Bureau zombies and snorks are more than ready to tear it wide open.
Fuck this.
Having dealt with them, we get to the boss of this dungeon, the controller. This poor guy been standing here since 2007, must have been killed a million times already. Ending his suffering, we grab the documents neatly placed under the bum of a dead mercenary and jump into a hole in the floor. The easy part of the journey is over. Now we gotta get out of the sewers, which should be packed to the brim with snorks, except there aren't any snorks here, just dead mercenaries. What is going on here? Well, the explanation didn't take long to arrive.
What are you doing in my swamp?
And of course, the pseudo-giant is still around. We drop by the professor hoping for a reward, but turns out our little adventure was purely on a volunteer basis. At least I managed to offload the documents. Now that I've got a Psy helmet, it's time to head toward the radar. First I find some stalker at the army warehouse, goes by the name Gatekeeper. Hell of a name for a stalker, feels like I'm in Diablo or something. And I hit him with the classic, "Tell me about yourself." Great way to spark a convo with a guy in full combat gear guarding barricades. He tells me about the brain scorcher and that if I want people to respect me, I better shut it down. Finally, a solid reason to do that. Suddenly, Monolith attacks. I catch a bullet and crawl behind a shack like a little bitch while our new buddy absolutely shreds the poor fanatics. In Russian version, his name is Cerberus, and honestly, he earned that title. The moment we step onto the radar, it becomes painfully clear just how petty our previous struggles were. The radiation levels are cooking me alive, feels like I landed on a damn sun. And after some lovely greetings from the local freak show, we begin our slow, painful crawl through the army of Monolith and brain-fried meat puppets. Making it to the complex, I'm surprised by how quiet it is. But I'm not falling for that. So I lovingly scatter some tripwires behind me, just in case Monolith decides to flood the hallways at the worst possible moment. Turns out they were waiting for me, just a little further in. After shutting down the brain scorcher, which absolutely no one cares about, and picking up some even more pointless documents off the floor, we mop up a Monolith strike team, half of which have already generously donated their limbs to my earlier minefield. Dumped the junk on some traders and made our way to Zaton through the Red Forest.
Ты здорово меня
Awesome.
And the forest was red probably from all the blood, judging by the non-stop gunfire from every direction, and a cozy 20 FPS keeping my eyes entertained. I decided to check the breach and got met with fierce monolith resistance. Took most of them down, then caught a bullet to the skull. I reflected on my mistakes and my second death was even more embarrassing. Then I stumbled upon a strange tunnel, red barrels lined up neatly and grenades arranged into a pentagram. Holy shit, looks like I have found a way to destroy the zone. Well, almost. After running into another monolith army, I finally made it to Zaton and met Beard. I tell him how I've been chasing Strelok and even turned off the brain scorcher for it. He, of course, was impressed by how much of an idiot I am and told me that one of the Strelok's guys is literally sitting right here on the Skadovsk. Guy named Rogue. Rogue immediately told me to fuck off when I tried to speak with him, but I deployed my secret weapon. I told him I just wanted to talk. After hearing about my suffering at the Scorcher and my mission from command, he too was floored by my stupidity, but gave me credit for having a massive Johnson. After all, they don't call me Charlie Dickens for nothing. Rogue, in turn, told me how he and Strelok's group were trying to push toward the center of the zone, but got ambushed in Pripyat by some unkillable monolith freak who dropped a couple of his bodies. So now he's here, looking for some experimental weapon, a Gauss rifle, hoping it might actually do the job. Oh, and guess who he asked to find it? Apparently, I still have to prove my worth to everyone. But hey, anything for the noble cause of destroying the zone, right? So I head to the market location, only to find that Monolith already snatched the Gauss rifle and are now chilling around the campfire, singing Kumbaya. Huge mistake. I bring the weapon back to Rogue and he tells me he needs some time to sort things out. Fair enough. I go do my thing for a bit, come back later and turns out all I had to do was ask him about himself again and boom, quest resumed. Now we head into the outskirts of Pripyat to Strelok's sacred base. Spending some money on a guide is not an option, so we'll be marching there the hard way, through the Jupiter underpass.
Whoa! You sneaky bastard son of a gun! Jesus, scared the shit out of me.
After a relatively calm stroll, we walk straight into an ambush by those damn sons of Monolith, soak up every last drop of radiation the tunnels had to offer, and finally crawl our way back to the surface. Strelok's secret base turned out to be not that secret. Bunch of randoms wandering around and even a guide offering his services 2 steps away. Once again, I asked myself why the hell we crawled through the Jupiter underpass. My deep thoughts was rudely interrupted by some freedom jackass hanging around the base. Turned out to be none other than Steve Buscemi himself, also the local mechanic. Well, he was. We head upstairs to meet Strelok, naturally smacking the door open right into our own face. He was definitely surprised to see a duty fighter, especially one going by the name Dickens, but immediately understood why I came. Of course, he was ready to share his knowledge, but guess what? Not for free. Apparently, the fact that I agreed to help push into the center of the zone and retrieve the gun capable of dropping that unkillable monolith freak meant jack shit. Instead, he wants me to dive into some super duper secret lab under Pripyat and fetch intel that could help take the bastard down. Still don't know why we need that if we already have the damn rifle, but hey, I don't stick my nose into other people's business. I was dying to get some sleep, but every mattress was taken, and the only spot they gave me was a set of rusty springs stretched over the pile of rubble and trash. Yep, that's how they treat the future legend of the zone. Oh, and we are supposed to check if Rogue and Stitch need any help. Spoiler, they do. Rogue wants a pseudo-giant dead, and Stitch needs 6 army medkits that I have to buy with my hard-earned cash. Having dealt with the zone's pest and gathered medkits from every pharmacy known to man, I grab a couple of volunteers that happen to be nearby and head down to the lab. Or well, not quite yet. First, we have to power up the elevator, which means pushing through a building jam-packed with monolith and their zombified bodies. I stumbled across an abandoned workbench and fall into a classic monolith trap. Got booted straight to desktop. After finally sorting everything out topside, we descend into the lab proper. This place greeted us with ringing ears, blurry vision and flying junk straight to the face. My squad mates froze on the spot and I couldn't take a single step without catching barrel to the head or tanking half my psi health. To make things worse, damn snorks kept biting my ass and bugged rats dragged the FPS down to a cinematic 25. In other words, this place felt like home.
Oh, really? Did I?
But all good things come to an end, so did the howling of the goddamn controller. As for the Bureau and the Poltergeist, karma didn't keep them waiting either. Every plank, barrel and snore corpse hurled at my head turned into a bloody tear for them. Finally clearing the place out, we head outside, only to find a squad of mercenaries waiting for us. Emphasis on waiting, not winning. Handing the documents over to Stalker and rallying the squad, we begin our push toward the monolith base. Apparently, some of the monolith fanboys couldn't sit still and decided to wait for us not far from our so-called secret hideout. So much for stealth. Near the monolith stronghold, we get a message from Eidolon claiming he can feel us coming, and that he won't let us through. Funny thing is, I didn't feel him at all. Dropped the guy with a single sniper shot. I wondered for a second how my teammates had any trouble with him, but the answer was pretty clear once I watched them fight. Turns out Eidolon's power source was a pretty decent artifact, but as we have seen, decent doesn't mean invincible. With that settled, we move on to storm the CNPP. The plant welcomed us with a moderate resistance and, surprisingly, radiation levels that didn't even come close to what we suffered at Radar. My sniper ammo dried up pretty fast, so I finally had to whip out the Gauss rifle. At last, a weapon worthy of Charlie Dickens. But turns out I wasn't the only one packing. Ilya Pacifist also had a Gauss gun. After testing my own medicine a couple of times, I finally made it clear to these clowns that only one man is worthy of wielding such power. Man with a giant almost died from second-hand cringe watching my teammates trying to kill a damn zombie, but somehow we made it inside the nuclear plant. Here the radiation was finally making me suffer properly, while yet another monolith army pushed the fun levels into the stratosphere. I decided to repeat the trick I pulled with that dying freedom guy and inject a little loyalty into a dying monolithian. Might have overdid it though, the poor bastard exploded into a fine mist. Still, that wasn't nearly enough to stop Charlie Dickens. But thanks God, the enemy didn't feel like playing fair either, and just straight up teleported another squad right onto our heads. The monolith control center was way too quiet, but after I politely announced our presence with a grenade, things spun out of control fast enough that even Jelly Boys showed up, just as feral and brain dead as their solid counterparts. After clearing most of the room with a single 3-pointer grenade toss, we grabbed the monolith shard and handed it over to Strelok. Time to finally get some damn answers. Turns out Strelok didn't know much, and he sure as hell had no clue how to destroy the zone. Sensing my rage about the whole pointless trip starting to boil over, he and his buddies just poofed out of existence, leaving behind a couple of souvenirs, like it made up for anything. And what was I supposed to tell the general now? Not that he cared, nobody did. They were all so chilled out they'd particularly forgotten about me and Strelok altogether. You know what, guys? Fuck this, I'm joining freedom.